Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel today. We bring you the thrilling story of the CIA's most valuable spy, a story that unfolds in the shadows of the Cold War, when every secret could tip the balance of power and every betrayal could change the fate of nations. The details you are about to hear are not fiction. They are drawn from the very heart of global intelligence history, where the stakes were nothing less than survival. It began in a world split between two great rivals, the United States and the Soviet Union. The air was heavy with suspicion. The race for military dominance was relentless, and intelligence was the most valuable currency in this struggle. One man became the secret weapon of the CIA, his identity hidden behind layers of codes, cutouts, and clandestine meetings. He stood at the center of one of the most daring intelligence operations ever recorded. This spy was not just another informant. He was a high-ranking insider with access to military strategies, weapons programs, and political maneuvering that the CIA could only dream of obtaining. Each report he sent across enemy lines was a revelation. Each microfilm, each coded message became a tool to counter Soviet plans and to give the United States an advantage that few had imagined possible. The CIA's leadership soon realized they had something extraordinary. Their analysts confirmed time and again that the information arriving from this one source was consistently accurate, incredibly detailed, and impossible to dismiss. For years, his material shaped strategies, altered negotiations, and even prevented crises from spiraling into disaster. He became known in the inner circles as the most valuable spy the agency ever had. But every step he took carried unimaginable danger. The Soviet security services were among the most ruthless in the world. Their surveillance networks were vast, their interrogations merciless, and their punishment final. Living a double life meant constant fear. Every knock on the door, every unexpected phone call, every stranger in the street could be the end. Yet he pressed on, driven not by greed, but by conviction that the truth he provided could prevent war and save lives. The CIA's methods for handling him were precise and careful. Elaborate tradecraft protected his identity. Brush passes were arranged in crowded parks. Coded signals were left on street corners. Dead drops hidden in ordinary objects allowed information to move without detection. The agency invested enormous resources to protect him because they knew the loss of this spy would be more than a tragedy. It would be a catastrophe. The information he supplied revealed the Soviet Union's most secret weapons programs. It exposed weaknesses in their military and uncovered the real intentions of their political leaders. One revelation after another confirmed that the CIA had gained a window into the very mind of its greatest rival. Intelligence officers later admitted that they could scarcely believe their luck. It was as if the walls of the Kremlin had turned transparent. Yet the deeper he went into this role, the more dangerous it became, because in espionage, the greatest threat is not only the enemy, but betrayal from within. Whispers of a possible leak began to spread inside the CIA. Paranoia grew because if the Soviets learned the identity of this spy, his fate would be sealed and the damage to the United States would be beyond repair. For years, however, he survived. He remained undiscovered, moving carefully through the dangerous game of deception, holding his nerve as history shifted around him. His work influenced arms control discussions, altered how the United States prepared its defenses, and even contributed to avoiding direct military conflict. His reports were not just read. They were studied, analyzed, and used at the very highest levels of government, shaping presidential decisions and guiding military planning. By the time the full extent of his contribution was measured, the CIA knew they had witnessed something unparalleled in the annals of intelligence. This was not just a valuable source. This was the crown jewel of espionage, a man whose courage and secrecy bought time for diplomacy and prevented the eruption of war. The success of the mission rested not only on the bravery of the spy, but also on the network of CIA officers who managed his communications. Each meeting was rehearsed, each route carefully planned, because one small mistake could bring down everything. The CIA treated his information like pure gold, because every detail matched satellite imagery, intercepted transmissions, and the testimony of other sources. The analysts inside Langley began to depend on him so heavily that some feared they were addicted to his stream of intelligence. In Washington, his reports landed directly on the desks of top officials. They shaped policy toward the Soviet Union and gave American leaders the confidence to negotiate from a position of strength. One of the most critical pieces of intelligence revealed the true scale of Soviet nuclear capabilities, which turned out to be far less than American fears had estimated. This revelation shifted the balance of negotiations on arms control and prevented the kind of panic that could have led to escalation. But the spy himself lived a life of quiet torment. By day, he fulfilled his official duties, appearing loyal and committed to his homeland. By night, he carried the weight of secrets that could topple him at any moment. His family never knew the truth. His colleagues never suspected, but he constantly walked the thin line between normalcy and exposure. The CIA went to extraordinary lengths to protect him. They trained him in subtle signals like leaving chalk marks on lampposts or folding a newspaper in a certain way. They provided miniature cameras that could fit inside pens and dead drop containers that blended into the environment. Every meeting was short, swift, and focused because lingering too long in the shadows of Moscow could be fatal. As the years passed, his reports continued to stun the analysts. He revealed the Soviet Union's internal struggles, the inefficiency of its economy, and the overextension of its military machine. These insights proved invaluable for American strategy, showing that the giant rival was more vulnerable than it appeared. The information gave leaders confidence that the Cold War could be managed without catastrophe. Still, danger grew within the CIA itself. Double agents and moles lurked inside American intelligence services. Some loyal to Moscow, some motivated by money, and others by ideology, as suspicion spread the question of how long the spy could remain. Hidden loomed over every operation each time he delivered new intelligence. The agency wondered if it might be his last. Eventually, the inevitable came. A betrayal from within the CIA led to his exposure. A double agent with access to sensitive files revealed his identity to the Soviets. What followed was swift and merciless. The KGB moved in with precision, arresting the man who had evaded them for years. His family never knew what had struck them. The CIA could do nothing but watch from afar as their greatest source fell into the hands of the enemy. The news shook Washington to its core. Leaders who had depended on his reports felt the weight of the loss. Intelligence officers spoke in hushed tones about what had happened, and even hardened veterans admitted that this was the most devastating blow to the agency in decades. His sacrifice was acknowledged quietly in classified circles, though his name remained hidden from public view for many years. What made his story more powerful was not simply the intelligence he provided, but the courage it took to keep going. He understood the risk. He knew the fate that awaited him if he were caught, yet he chose to continue for years because he believed the information could prevent conflict and save millions of lives. His legacy was not measured only in secrets stolen, but in crises avoided and wars that never happened. Today, historians and intelligence experts still debate the true extent of his impact. Some argue that his intelligence shortened the Cold War. Others say it prevented nuclear escalation altogether, but nearly all agree that without him the world might have taken a darker path. Thank you for watching. For more updates, subscribe to our channel, like, and share these videos.